Alright, we're going to be doing something that has been much needed on this bike. We are upgrading the brakes. I mean, all I'm doing is replacing the shoes on the back and the pads, because I am running the ones from, as far as I know, 1980, because I don't really know if they've been replaced. When I first got this bike, I rebuilt the front caliper, and the pads looked okay, so I just have been using them until they kind of went bad, and now they're starting to get squeaky, so we're going to replace those. But I'm also going to update the lines on the front. So this is from Dime City Cycles. It is a kit that just comes with a length of braided stainless steel cable and banjo bolts, and there are instructions to get this all put together, but you can cut it to the length that you need for your application. I'm not going to do anything with the master cylinder. I'm still going to run with this Amazon one that I don't recommend, and maybe someday I'll restore. I have the original, but the piston is stuck and it's crusty, so we'll go ahead and start. This is how it comes. So here's our old line, right, and here's our new. It's just a single tube. It says it has a Teflon tube inner, and then it has a, there we go, steel braided outer, and then it's also covered in a clear coating. And so this, the instructions say you need to peel the clear coat back a little bit, and then what you're going to do is these fittings come pre-put together like this, but you got to take it apart. And then to get your measurements, this is going to slide into that tube, and then you can kind of line the top of the banjo up with itself. So I know that with this fully seated in that Teflon tube, I'm going to cut my tube kind of right at this line. So that's what I'll do when I cut the other end. And it says to use a hacksaw or like a real fine cutoff tool, you know, careful not to like chew everything up. But to put it together, alright, so I got that cut. It said to wrap a little bit of tape around the end. I measured right at about 36.5 inches. I know normally when you order these are in millimeters, but my tape measure is American because so am I. And so I did probably 2 to 3 millimeters a little longer than what I think I'm gonna need, because I figure like you can handle longer than you can shorter. This kit came pretty long. I mean, I ended up cutting this much off. See all that? And then I got that cut off. So I'm gonna start with the clean end. This one came from, when I ordered it, it came pretty clean. And so what the instructions say is take this clear liner and carve it back. Stupid fly. Carve it back about 1 inch. So I did that, took it off. I'm probably going to leave this clear liner on just to protect my cable. Then you take this part and you slide it down, taper down. Then what you got to do, it said take a little screwdriver and take the end of the, let's see if I can get this to zoom in, the braided line. You want to spread that from the inner tube. Sorry, let me show from the other end. This end's real dirty, but you can see that on the inside of that there's like an inner, you can't see that, there's an inner, it's called a Teflon tube covered by steel braiding. So separate those and then take the brass ferrule, take this one off so you can see it. There's a tapered end on that, so that just put on in between the steel and over the Teflon tube, and then kind of push it down. What I ended up doing is just kind of using the end of the table here and kind of like wiggling it on there, wiggling it all the way down. Then you're going to lubricate the barb end of this with some brake fluid, and then it is just going to go into this hole real nice and neat. And then this is going to just go up, and it's threaded on the inside, so you're just going to thread it and tighten it. Here's what I'm going to do. Don't freak out, because this is a sealing surface. I'm going to make my vice grips bigger than the banjo, so this can slide in and out. And then I'm going to take my rag and put that in here. Hold the banjo down. Sorry if my lighting is terrible. Okay. Kind of just squeeze that down. Like, it's still pretty loose in there, but that can at least hold it. Wow. Up there. So I can at least get, this is an 11 millimeter. At least get it, hold on to it while I tighten that up, because it's got to be able to compress that ferrule against that tube, against that barb, to be able to you know, not leak when it has pressure applied to it. This is kind of annoying. Here we go. Yep, tipping stuff over.
Dad?
Hey, what's up? Come hold this. Just hold on to that, like real still. There we go. Get a second person, because that'll help you. Oh, there we go. Hold on one second. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Of course, my kid hasn't learned altruism yet. He just needs something from me after I get this on. Okay, so I'm gonna get that tight. Okay, that's feeling pretty snug now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this end on the brake master cylinder part. Then I'm going to feed my line through. That way I can get these banjo bolts angled where I need them to be. I'm probably going to attach it onto the bike and then tighten this, because then it'll be exactly where it needs to be. So up at the top, this looks really clean. I like how it kind of angles away from the master cylinder, and then it's kind of nice in line with my bars. I did put the original boot back on, so that'll go back up and over. So I put this one on, and then I worked on my routing how I wanted it on this side of my cables all the way through to my brackets right here. I did have to pinch those close so it would actually stay, because this is a lot skinnier than the original. It comes back here, it routes through here. So with this one, I just turn it so that crack is on this side out here. I can slide it back through, and then I usually turn it so that it will lock in there. I'm gonna have to get pliers and pinch this too so it'll hold it. And then I did decide to angle it toward the forks instead of away. Away it like really went out here and then around and back to this, and it was just too much squiggle. Now I notice this is slack, and it's because I'm on the center stand, and so my forks are compressed a tad. So I probably went a little bit long, but longer is probably better than, I mean, longer is definitely better than shorter, but I could have accurately measured everything and done a little bit better. But so I'm going to tighten all this down, and I'm going to get these brakes. Yeah, this isn't tightened there yet, but now this is all held in place, and I can tighten it. So here's something I didn't anticipate. As I was tightening to tighten up the ferrule, it started to kind of curlicue the whole hose, and I have a fix for that. I just unscrewed it from the caliper, and I'm basically just going to unwind the whole thing and plug it back in, and that actually worked to pretty much straighten out the whole, oh, I just lost my crush washer, pretty much straighten out the whole thing. So now it's pretty straight, and it's going to go in. So there's a fix for that. Just got back from a pretty long drive, and as you can see, I'm not seeing any leaks like at all. Like all this is real nice and dry. Up through here, I mean, I had it was covered in the boot, just peeled it back down, and then down here it still got a little spirally. Again, I probably did end up going a little bit long, but it's fine. Down here everything is great. Now, as far as stopping goes, I'm not gonna lie, it feels about the same. A little bit spongy, but I also am running a bike from 1980 with a single caliper, a single piston, caliper piston, single rotor, and so like the stopping is kind of what the stopping is. I mean, maybe if I upgraded the master cylinder, maybe to, but I don't know. I mean, how much more are you going to get? I have no idea. But once I fix the rear, which is what we're moving to next, then I'll be able to use both brakes. I haven't been able to use my rear brake lately. I've had like a grinding in there, but again, it's brake shoes from 1980, so we're going to replace those out.